Standing here on the wing, Draymond moves to the baseline to establish a screen for Jordan Poole. GP3 rejects the screen and maybe talks some smack to Draymond because this isn't a real game. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happened to NBA players when Draymond Green made derogatory remarks about them. However, you know who loves Boston Celtics player Ime Udoka because all of a sudden he's taking us to himself. I'm so grateful the smoke is now gone. In all honesty, the video that TMZ released made the entire incident look much worse than the initial reports. And with that, let's analyze the problem as a whole and discover the truth. Okay, folks, even though the entire thing seemed really horrible, here's how Draymond minimized what occurred in the Volumes podcast, and it makes sense if you hear him speak.
I actually tried to hold him up.
Okay, I know this is from the Memphis Grizzlies playoff series when Draymond got called for the foul on Brandon Clark, but I had to do it. Without further ado, let me recap the brief introduction before we truly get started with the video. Since Chris Paul was hit with a left hook during the Rondo and Chris Paul incident, I must admit that when the news of Draymond and Poole's minor scuffle first broke, I assumed it might have been similar. It wasn't really anything serious, and I didn't want to make a video about it. But after watching the video, I felt compelled to explain a few things online. First of all, Draymond Green did, in fact, throw a Superman punch that connected. I'm glad Jordan Poole wasn't seriously hurt by this, as it was a genuine MMA move that could have caused serious harm. I naturally began to wonder how this would impact the team's chemistry moving ahead once I had taken everything in. Will this hamper the Warriors' chances of capturing the title this year? Draymond could be suspended for a long time. First off, in an interview when he mentioned anything, Stephen Curry kind of hinted at how this would influence the squad.
So these inflection points in these moments can make or break a team, and my job is to not let it break us at all.
Naturally, a situation like this could go either way, but in all honesty, I don't believe it will have any lasting effects. After all, Michael Jordan once punched Steve Kerr in the face prior to the 1995 to 1996 season. The Chicago Bulls finally went on to win 72 games during the regular season and followed that up with not one, not two, but 3 championships. It is therefore evident that even though feelings are a little shaken, the Warriors currently stand a good chance of winning another championship. Here is what Jay Williams had to say about the Jordan Kerr incident to further add to this.
This stuff happens every single day sometimes for some teams. It happens multiple times throughout the course of the season. Guys get in fights, guys throw punches, but ultimately I think that experience can bring a team a lot closer. And
the Warriors are champions and have some of the brightest light shining on them, just like Jordan did in his prime. The Sacramento Kings or the Indiana Pacers, for example, wouldn't likely receive even a small portion of the attention this situation is currently receiving. But because it's Golden State, and because it's Draymond, it makes for good front-page fodder. Anyway, following one of the earliest stories of this happening, Chris Haynes tweeted that Jordan Poole's attitude has recently altered negatively as a result of the fact that he was about to receive a hefty bag. And this is what Steph Curry had to say about it.
There's a specific tweet that was put out yesterday about insinuating that JP's attitude or something has changed since he's been in this training camp or even, whatever time window they're talking about. It's absolute BS.
The next statement on the subject comes from Steve Kerr.
The only thing I will say is that Jordan has been fantastic throughout camp. There was a report that I was made aware of last night that someone put out there that Jordan had an attitude in camp. Nothing could be further from the truth. He's been fantastic. So disappointing to see misinformation out there.
Now that we've heard it all, it's clear that the fourth-year guard from Michigan's bad attitude had nothing to do with his contract extension. In fact, Steph Curry said that everything appeared to be normal until it wasn't. Anyway, Draymond just completed his interview to offer his apologies. He claimed to have watched the tape about 15 times and responded to any questions the reporters had for him. As a result of the situation still being somewhat raw, he decided to take some time off before moving forward. He added, "Trust me, guys, give it another week or two, and the two of them will make up." Harrison Barnes is the only person with whom Draymond engages in behavior of this nature, and it always works out well. Although it is somewhat off topic, here is Draymond talking about it.
But Harrison Barnes, I think to this day, still don't like me for KD coming here. And the reality is, bro, it's like, I didn't tell him to trade you. For instance, this dude invite Steph and them to his wedding, Steph, Clay, everybody at his wedding except me. Like, bro.
Let's now look at how several NBA players feel about the whole Draymond and Jordan Poole situation. According to Festus Ezeli, incidents like this regularly take place during practice and competitions, making it impossible to win a title without them. In order to save that connection, he also noted that it always happens to stop overreacting. But I need to win you back. Another former Warriors player claimed that whoever released the film had a large group of mofos they could trust and that everyone had been mistaken. Someone was supposed to move in front of Draymond as soon as he started moving. However, it appears that the support staff and film crew had more hearts than some of the sideline champs. Isaiah Thomas went on a brief outburst. Evan Fournier doesn't think you can be teammates again after a punch like that. And John Morant posted an emoji with two eyes. Trae Young, who sings the song Dream On, is attempting to get to Los Angeles. Kendrick Perkins mentioned a number of things that I no longer take seriously, and he then continued talking. According to Rudy Gobert, insecurity is audible. Regardless, despite all the commotion in the league, in the overall scheme of things, as I already stated, nothing will change. The Warriors would have won the title in 2019, even with Draymond and Durant getting into that altercation, where Draymond said harsh comments, if not for the strain of injuries that occurred in the playoffs. And even after the 2023 season is through, the Warriors will still experience payroll problems. Then, in terms of punishment, General Manager Bob Myers reportedly stated that Draymond won't be subject to any further suspensions. So after the tension has subsided, everything will just resume as usual. Personally, I still believe that Draymond is a good man who briefly lost control of his emotions and deserves some sort of reprimand from the Warriors. He probably needs to enroll in an anger management course to help him focus his energy. But as I have mentioned, after everything settles, he and Poole will be amicable once more. Shaq and Charles Barkley, for example, had their share of on-court conflicts before becoming what is essentially best buddies in the NBA today. Anyway, returning to the video, I want to draw attention to something that I think is hilarious. Okay, so as you can see, one of the Warriors coaches followed Draymond when he started moving in Poole's direction to confront him because he felt something was about to happen. In the beginning, I believed he would end it or at least intervene, but even after the punch, he does nothing.